Amid the language war in Bengaluru, the Chief Minister is right now holding a meeting with officials from the Home Department, the Kannada and Culture Department, and the BBMP. Pro-Kannada activists are also protesting in Hassan. They are demanding the release of the arrested Karnataka Rakshana Vedike activists who were detained by the cops. In a significant development, a state minister has also issued an ultimatum. Speaking exclusively to Times Network, the Minister for Kannada and Culture, Shivaraj Tangadi, has said that the protest is justified, but the vandalism is not. Now, the state government is also framing new rules to ensure that there's more usage of Kannada on the signboards. And he also said that the state government will cancel the trade licenses of those who don't adhere to this norm. That's slated to be official after 15 days, as and when this is approved by the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. Now, former State Minister Basavaraj Bommai, of course, has hit back. He's put the onus of the violence on the state government, calling it a government failure. Remember, this is an incident that has sparked debate across the nation. Pro-Kannada groups have been on a rampage in the Silicon City, with multiple English signboards being torn down if they don't comply with the rule of having 60% of the text in Kannada.
वो पहले से बोल रहा है कन्नड़ में कौन कौन बिजनेस करता है वो सभी कन्नड़ में रहना। उनका डिमांड तो करेक्ट है, लेकिन उनका डिमांड को क्यों राज्य सरकार अभी तक उनका इंटरेस्ट नहीं दिखाता है मुझे मालूम नहीं। इसलिए मैं उनको प्रेशर कर रहा हूं। कल वो उनका नारायण गौड़ा को वो अरेस्ट किया है, वो गलत है। उनको जेल में डाला है, वो भी गलत है। उनको छोड़ दो, क्योंकि वो कन्नड़ के बारे में फाइट कर रहा है।
60-40 ಏನು ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಇದೆ, ಆ 60-40 ರೇಷಿಯೋದೊಳಗ ನೀವು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬರಲೇಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನು ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ರದ್ದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ರದ್ದು ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಆ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು 1-2 ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಕ್ರೋಢೀಕರಿಸಿ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಉಪಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ನಿರ್ಧಾರವನ್ನು ಪ್ರಕಟ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
In democracy, everyone can protest. They have the right. But we can't tolerate taking the law into their own hands. I am very much disturbed that they have vandalized very places, boards and all. They can have their black flag, they can shout, they can ask them to implement the government order which is there for 60% of the board. We don't want to object them. As a activities, they can do it. But they can't take the law into their hands. That is whoever may be, they can't threaten the government.
In fact, our focus continues to be on this development from Karnataka, and joining us on the broadcast right now is my colleague Neha. Neha, one interesting fact that I've noted here is neither the government nor the opposition have outrightly condemned this rampage. Instead, all they're doing is they're saying there needs to be no vandalism and that this protest is justified. Give us a sense of what's the situation on ground, and the deadline is also set to end. So what's the situation like, and what are the pro-Kannada activists planning next?
Actually, you're right in saying that there hasn't been any open condemnation coming through from either of the parties here in the state of Karnataka as far as this violence is concerned. It is unfortunate. We saw commercial establishments being torn down yesterday, billboards, in fact, being ripped apart, and absolute chaos. And, what we saw yesterday was just rampage. Now, if we are to talk about government action here, we've seen that at least about 26 people have been arrested so far. While we're, of course, given to understand that they are currently languishing in jail, the question really arises about how incidents like these are going to be stopped in the future. We're seeing that now, after this has come through, you have another group of pro-Kannada activists coming forward, threatening the government, warning them, saying that if at all these arrested activists are not released, then in that case, they would further intensify their stir. They would launch a statewide stir, and a very violent one at that. Of course, one thing in all of this is that Bengaluru city, the IT capital's name is being tarnished. It's rather unfortunate. What, of course, remains to be seen right now is how the government is going to ensure that, these violent acts do not play out. Quite unfortunate what happened in Bengaluru yesterday.
Right now, of course, the bigger question here is will the lack of open condemnation by the government and the opposition embolden these activists, or will this bring the situation back in control? We'll, of course, keep a track on everything that's happening in the state of Karnataka. And also, let's listen into what the opposition has to say on the situation in the state right now.
They have made a law that 60% of the public exhibit boards should be in Kannada, and everybody should follow it. First of all, those who have not followed, they have been given sufficient time by BBMP and other authorities. So they are not following it. They should follow. Being in Karnataka, taking all advantage of Karnataka, they should. It's a minimum thing, and this is there in all states, not only Karnataka. And because the deadline has been passed, the Kannada activists are angry on them. However, violence is not totally warranted. It's a failure of the state government to implement the 60% of the Kannada board.